Okay, so we're back here talking to Yasha, and as always, we're going to explore all sorts of different things. Today, I've got a random question generator for him so we can discover a little bit more about Yasha himself. But first, let's ask him how he's getting on at the moment. How are you dealing with things? How are you feeling, Yasha?
Good morning, Martin, and everybody. I'm progressing as I'm supposed to, according to everything that I'm reading about Parkinson's. I've got, I'm reaching what is probably about the third stage now, in danger of losing my balance and not so steady on my feet. So this morning I feel a bit spaced out. It's just come on. It takes time. It's an interesting illness to follow. That's one of the advantages of Parkinson's. It is really curious. Nobody still knows anything about it. There's no Parkinson specialist, neurologist that's a specialist in Parkinson, because there is no specific illness. Parkinson at the moment consists of several maladies combined together to form Parkinson's. There isn't a sort of common factor to everybody who has got Parkinson's. I think I mentioned this before.
Yes.
So every day is a new day and a new experience for me. But I think I've come to two conclusions which I'm trying to practice. One, I'm looking at Parkinson's now as a challenge to my spirituality. I think Parkinson is testing me to say, are you really going to be spiritual or not? Let's see you practicing it. Because it is an opportunity. It is definitely an opportunity to see how spiritual you can be, or what spirituality can do for you.
Mm.
The second thing, which is more practical, is that I'm beginning to accept the fact that the way I feel is the actual illness itself. It's not manifestations of the illness. Now, if I can persuade myself to that, then at least I can accept my position much better. Otherwise, I get very frustrated. I'm very frustrated that I can't write, I can't concentrate for long enough, or the way I'm feeling at this moment, which is getting more and more spaced out.
Yes.
I can hear myself talking. So once I accept that situation, that position, I think I'm bringing into practice Taoism, the concept of Taoism, go with the flow.
Mm.
So I have the feeling that the more I accept the fact that this is my illness, I'm in my illness now, while I'm talking to you all. And that is the illness. There is an element of acceptance that is supportive to the way I feel.
So I think it's important at this point to mention to anyone watching this, Yasha and I have an agreement that we will do these interviews as far as possible, no matter how he's feeling. So if he wakes up feeling spaced out and confused and tired or unfirm, then he's going to try to push on and do this. So I'm trying to visualize, trying to imagine what it's like if we swapped positions, spaced out. I've had days like that. We've all had times like that. Don't like it at all, where you don't feel like you're fully aware of what's going on. Everything seems a bit distant, a bit lightheaded. Would that be a good description? Just can't focus.
Yes, I don't think you lose touch with what's going on. I think what you literally do is as if you are stepping backwards out of where you are and watching the space you just came from. It's like everything going on around you is going on around you with you observing.
Yes, you're a bit detached.
Detached. You can hear echoes, for example, and
Oh my word. Okay, that sounds a little bit beyond my experience. I think the closest I've ever had to that was I came, one time after I came back from general anesthetic, everything seemed like I was in a hollow
Yeah,
room.
exactly, exactly.
Oh my word, that's not something I'd like on a daily basis. You can hear your
No,
own voice echoing back, and other people sort of echoey. Yes, so
no,
I can see what you mean about a test. To keep tranquil and focused and pleasant through that would be a test.
the test is not to be stressed. And I must tell you that from that point of view, I'm grateful to you, Martin,
Oh,
because this opportunity to express myself publicly almost is a very good way of identifying the tension that I need to
yeah.
challenge, if you see what I mean.
Yes, and a lot of people on YouTube have said this is really valuable to them because they're going through their own things. Some people
Exactly.
are going through Parkinson's, some people are going through other stuff where they're having to deal with adversity and try to learn from it and do their best. And you have ups and downs and everything.
I must take this opportunity to ask anybody who has got the same feeling of spacing out and the mental sort of foggy headedness to sort of come forward, because the Parkinson, those who suffer from Parkinson, who I meet once a month and so on, I can't identify anybody who's got exactly the same symptoms.
ah,
So I'm wondering, well, I won't challenge that it is a Parkinsonian trait, but I would be curious to know how many see this as a Parkinsonian side effect of one of the pills, the Cinemet one. It's
so it must
supposed to be a side effect of the Cinemet pill. It would be interesting to see, to
certainly.
hear.
So yes, leave a comment here, and we'll pass it on to Yasha so he can hear if you're having the same. And this loss of balance. So you said it in a very matter of fact way, but if someone said, right, your balance is going to get progressively worse, and you might I'd think, well, how do I prepare for that then? I mean, when
Well,
do I stop driving, and do I need a stair lift, and and am I going to start crawling around the house because just so I feel safe, and can I make a cup of
now,
tea? Yeah, yeah,
to put that in context, the importance of this loss of balance, which I'll talk about in a second. Without being morbid, I must be very careful not to be morbid.
mm.
But when you ask what are the causes of death from Parkinson's, something like 70%, the majority almost, is from falls.
My word.
As a result of falling, you fall and you hurt yourself. You either hit your head or you're brought to hospital with some condition at your age because you're old. Is the last visit to a hospital and so forth. So that link, I think, puts the importance or the relevance of
Yes. Oh my
the
word.
loss
That
of
does.
balance into context.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's important to know because we
Yes.
tend to think about falling in different terms. Not many people understand, that if you look at when you talk about cause of death, just in normal everyday life, falling down the stairs your stairs are risky in your house,
Exactly.
no matter
In
what
my
your age is. Yeah, just one bad. Yeah, so we have to just, as you say, keep mindful and careful with these things. Um, I have a
Having said that, the loss of balance is a advanced. It's a sort of one. There are 5 stages of Parkinson's, and the third one takes this loss of balance into account.
yes.
It,
So
it, it's an interesting experience. I've had it. I've had it twice now. I've fallen twice.
yes. So if anyone's wondering why I was moving off screen, Theo the cat, he's decided to come and talk a little bit. So there we are.
That's good.
So today, Yasha, I've got a bit of fun for you. To allow us to get to know you a bit more, but we'll also take our conversation away from my focus and control. I have a random question generator before me, and I'll press that. I'm going to ask just a few questions, won't keep you long, just so we can learn a bit more about you, and and maybe it'll help us sort of have a different directed conversation.
Right.
which I think is ideal. Last night, I was at a meeting where I was told that you can talk about anything, and that when you used to give a response from the guests, people wouldn't want you to sit down because they found you, so entertaining. So let's test whether you can talk about anything. Don't worry, I'll be here to help. Okay, the first question is this: do ghosts really exist?
It's a repeat question. You asked me that once
Did I?
before.
So it's not that. There you go. This is a random question generator. I think your answer last time was they exist in every culture, so probably, but you weren't sure whether they were in our minds or external. I seem to recall that may have been the answer.
I think the last time I said to you is, how do you define a ghost?
Mm.
Now, do ghosts exist? Are hallucinations ghosts?
Yeah, so we do seem to, in every culture, there's visions of departed ones that seem to come back.
Yeah,
It'd be interesting at some point to find if they're consistent. Are ghosts white sheets in Japan?
exactly. I think
Well,
if you define ghosts as the creation of something in your own mind, then yes, they do exist.
okay, let's do another. Let's see if we can get a new question. Okay, this is a bit more general. It says, if you were in a witness protection program and you had to choose your new name, what would it be?
I don't want to be in a witness protection program.
I think the gist of it is if you were going to have another name, what would you rename yourself? It's a bit of an interesting.
I think I might actually, after due contemplation, I might call myself Yasha.
Yes,
It has been very useful to have an unusual, strange name.
I'm going to write a complete philosophical paper on how to say your surname.
Well, you better start with me because I don't know.
Yeah, you don't know, and that's what I just say, Yasha. But
Yes,
you have
fortunately, Yasha is unusual enough to stand on its own.
yeah. So is Yasha short for something, or
No,
is that?
no, no. Yasha is the Russian for Jacob.
Oh, okay. I was wondering if it was something close to Jacob or to Yeshua,
No,
Joshua.
it is actually Jacob. Yaakov in Hebrew.
Oh, and
So
so is it so this the surname and people be debating this for years. I've heard people say Beresina, Berezna. Yeah, for these ones. What other variations?
our family pronunciation is emphasis on the first syllables. Bereziner,
Berezina, Berezina.
Bereziner,
I've never
Bereziner,
heard anyone use that one. Berezina. But
Bereziner.
you've answered a question. You've answered a question that's been here for years. People have been thinking that's why you get called Yasha because I've even noticed when people announce you when they say you're giving a talk, unlike other people when they say, and now we have Martin Faulks, expert in memory. They'll say we have Yasha because they don't want to get it wrong.
I'll
Okay.
tell you that if they ever say Bereziner, finally, I always comment that that is the best pronunciation I've heard all week.
Oh, it's brilliant. Yes. I've got another friend who's got the similar thing. He's got so it's a bit of fun. Okay, next question. What's the worst job you've ever had?
The worst job I've ever had. I
Let's
think because of the circumstances on which I got the job concerned, it sort of didn't become the worst after I got into it. I worked on a building site for a while where I had to carry bricks from the ground floor to the top while they were building it.
As a labourer, yes, I've done that.
The laborer. Um, I think that probably was worse both physically and I felt I wasn't contributing anything to my welfare, you know.
Yes,
Not even the pay was too low.
yeah. So that's interesting. So when I was young, I did a series of jobs which were just physical moving things.
Yes.
I thought this is, I'm doing studies and things. This will be something systematic. And what I found very soon is that my approach to these things is too, athletic and not careful enough. So, if my job was moving potatoes backwards, putting them in sacks and moving them in a factory, I'd do everything that was needed to be done in the day, in
Yes,
the morning. But then I'd be sort of collapsed for the afternoon, and it
yes.
confused the whole system. Yeah. But that labouring job, when you're carrying bricks, how did you find interaction on a building site? Because some of the way things I've noticed that builders, people doing hard labor do is they sort of cope in certain ways. And there's a lot of humor and a lot of fun, but also it can be quite a harsh environment if you're new to it. What was it like for you?
Is it too late to change the job?
Yes, no, 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 it's not too late to change job. The worst, because I know
Because
you.
I just remember that I got a job once as a private detective working in a hospital, trying to detect to find some people that were stealing the laundry, other workers that were stealing the laundry. I was
This
put in as a spy in that one.
this wasn't anything with Duncan, was it? It wasn't the time I knew you.
No, this was I was
You
in Israel. This was
oh,
in
okay,
Israel,
okay. You remember my detective, right? So
and I
what?
went I went in as a private detective into as a, in hiding into in the laundry work.
I love it. So this wasn't money laundering. This was
No,
laundry laundering.
no, this was probably dirty, proper dirty laundering I'm talking
Yeah.
about in the
So
hospital, which was all blood and all.
yeah, and so you had to, as a detective. So were you posing, or were you just allowed to investigate by asking
No,
questions?
no, I was posing. I was supposed to be one of the workers there. That's what I was saying. That it became worse when I was discovered, and I was threatened. And I knew that the other guys had got outside waiting for me to come out to sort of, I think, probably to beat me up.
Oh my word! So
So I had one of these experiences.
wow, this is fascinating. So you
You,
go
you
into
got
the
it to
hospital.
mind. You see how useful you are. You're
Yeah.
bringing some experiences to my mind.
Oh, this is lovely. This is lovely to hear about. So you were detective job, and what was the job you were posing as? You were just
I
a
was a laundry. I was a student worker in a temporary job in a laundry in a hospital, and they put me in the laundry section
oh, so
just to help out with the laundry.
and did you suss who was stealing it? Did you suss before?
Yes, I began to see that it was organized. I began to detect that it was organized, but I was found out, so I had to be pulled out.
Yes. How did they find you out?
I can't remember, but they were suspicious. I was too good. I was looking too good for it to be a
Yes.
laundry worker.
Yes.
I,
Maybe too
I
good
didn't I
attention.
didn't fit the image of a laundry worker. Nicely dressed as a student in
Yes. Yeah.
career. I think I was in my early 20s.
So that's actually one of the interesting things that I've heard from detectives who are doing that kind of similar job is they're saying that when people go in when they've got a pretense for being somewhere or they're trying to give a reason that we tend to forget the other side of things. So if you're pretending to be drunk, drunk people aren't like people doing impressions of being drunk. Drunk people are trying to be controlled,
Yes, you were saying
so
that.
they move very slowly. But likewise, if you're a traveller, real people traveling back from Australia are half asleep, moody. They're not as very attentive. If you ask them questions, they get a few wrong. Whereas someone who's just trying to get through the border will actually be very certainly, yes, absolutely. Answering all the questions efficiently and seeming a bit too awake. And I have
Yes,
this vision that you folded the cloth too much and seemed too
yes,
good, and they thought,
probably.
But yes, so how did you manage to get out of there? You had you
Well,
in
I literally ran out. I mean, I went through a separate exit, different exit. I remember that incident well.
the flight.
Uh, I just went out through another exit and didn't go back again. I mean, well, I wasn't sent back. I mean,
Yeah, but you probably got enough information. It helped them.
yes, I mean, we never knew the results of our. There were many interesting interviews we used to have, but we never knew the results of our efforts.
Yes.
We
So
usually work and you submit your report and then you go on to the next job. So you don't know what happened exactly with the
I
last
like the
one.
laundry one. So were there any other hair-raising detective jobs?
No, I was in a very pleasant job. I had to interview housewives,
Yeah.
regarding their husbands for international companies where the job applicants gave references.
Mm.
And they were trying to fulfill on the references. So my job was to go and interview the wives, pretending to be a statistical informant looking at, statistics or something. I remember one of my questions to these housewives was, well, whether they were looking forward to seeing color television or not. So the idea was to become friendly enough to get invited for a cup of coffee so that you could then talk about their family, their husbands, and found out information.
Yeah, it's a bit of it, yes.
So that was I spent quite a long time doing that, which was very pleasant.
You talk about the looking forward to color television there.
Well, I remember having a list in front of me with all sorts of questions. So you used to say, I represent so-and-so television house, and
Ah,
we're finding out statistics from the public, whether the public is reacting positive or negative.
mm,
So would you mind answering just a few questions,
yes.
I remember one of the questions was whether they were in favor of color television or not. I
I
don't know
think,
why that one is sticking out. It's the only one I can remember.
yes, no, it's interesting. And
Serious.
do you remember when computer games were first invented? They were just blocks of they're just pixels on a screen. You had to
Yeah.
use your imagination. You were playing Pong, and it was just a line, and you were batting things beep, beep,
Yeah.
beep, backwards and forwards. When I was young, it was just a little bit beyond that. I look at what they can do now, and I just think if you showed that to me when I was 8, I just wouldn't have believed it. It would have just blown my mind. And I think, wow, nowadays, just the thought of being able to, people are being brought up, and they don't need to wait for television programs. They just click and see what they want. You and I, when we were younger, used to have to wait for, if we wanted to watch something, it'd have to be on Thursday evenings.
You're reminding me of, was it you who told me about the whole of the technology that went into the moon landing?
No, it wasn't me.
No,
But
the whole of the technology, of computerized technology that went into the moon landing in 1970, when was it? 1970 something. Is
yes,
in one single mobile telephone of today.
yes. So they'd have dreamed of that kind of techno. Yeah, I remember having a
Well,
computer.
that's a quantity. That's actually quantity of information that you can get on a mobile today. You would use to land on.
Yes,
I mean, it's an
yeah,
amazing thought
yeah.
of
Oh,
where.
yeah, absolutely. I remember getting a computer that had 128K as the biggest, most amazing thing.
Yeah,
And now people sort of, I've only got 3 gigabytes on this.
interesting. That's all within our own lifetime. Usually, you'd expect that sort of thing to happen over a much longer period.
Well, it's all moving very quickly, isn't it? It's all
Yeah,
moving very quickly. I mean, and let's hope, we've been talking about Parkinson's at the beginning. Let's hope that medicine keeps moving very quickly
maybe
as
these are
well.
the ghosts that are coming over.
Yes, absolutely. They keep coming over. The question keeps coming up. Okay, well, Yasha, we've got our 10-minute warning from this software we're recording with. And also, I think this has been quite a good session. We'll book another one soon. And
I'll have to listen to it before I can judge it
yeah, oh, absolutely. Yes, I'll send it
because
to
I've
you.
not been here all the time.
Yeah, you've been outside the body looking in. Well, it's been wonderful hearing from you, and I love the stories. I love the stories
Thank
of
you,
the
Martin. Well, I
laundry
enjoyed this meeting.
adventure. Okay, it's all right then, Yasha. I'll look forward to talking to you next time. It's been an honor talking to you.
That's very kind. Thank you. Thank you very much.